This looks like a fun group. You've already got your Peter Rabbit ears on, so you made a good choice in coming to Sandra's presentation today. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm so excited that Sandra is here all the way from the UK. I met most of you, but my name is Angie Harris. I'm the Director of International Programs for the Dollywood Foundation. I've been with, thank you. I've been with the foundation for a couple of years. First, I'd like to start off with the quiz, and I have a small prize. The first person to raise their hand can answer. Can anyone name the 4 nations that make up the United Kingdom? Chrissy. Something on the top, something in front of it?
Northern and
Okay.
Northern
Good job.
Because I made up a song the first time I went there, and it went, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, if we behave, we won't be jailed.
Did it work?
Yeah, well, apparently, because I'm still here.
Thank you so much. So, on to why we're here. It's such a great pleasure to introduce our very special guest today, Sandra Simmons, from across the pond, from England, from Northern England. Just a little bit about the United Kingdom. We also have Kirstine Watson, who's the Regional Director for the northern part of the UK, representing Scotland and most of Northern England, here in the red.
I'm Belfast, Northern Ireland.
And Northern Ireland, right, we have a program there that we're expanding. And Helen Hassel here, she's been with us since April, and she represents the lower part of England and Wales. We're hoping to expand there. We have 105 programs in the United Kingdom right now, and we have 34,000 children enrolled. So, this is a fun group. Sandra leads our largest and probably the most important program that we have in North Lincolnshire. And Sandra, if you don't mind pointing that out.
I've worked out. He won it.
Yeah.
Oh, and London, Helen. Got it right this time.
You cut me off.
Oh no, oh, go.
That's my fault.
There she is.
And Scotland.
Up here. Yeah.
I'm
Wales. You a bit further up, aren't you?
So we have programs across all of those 4 nations. But like I said, Sandra leads the largest program that we have right now, based in North Lincolnshire, England. And the program that we have there is a model program, not just for the United Kingdom, but for any imagination library. You're going to find out why. Because this program is making a really deep impact in carers and families and children across her area. It's a model that is improving reading outcomes, and it's a model that we're striving to replicate as we grow the program and scale up. As a result of Sandra's leadership, nearly 90%, I said 90% of the eligible population is enrolled in her area. So she is really setting the bar high for the programs, because I think that she leads in the percentage of number of children enrolled in all of the Imagination Library programs that we currently have around the globe. This translates into about 14,000 children, and about 1/3 of all the children that we have enrolled in the United Kingdom. Sandra will tell you in more detail how the program works, but it's mainly due to the success of the model. It's a holistic approach. It's a cradle-to-grave concept. And for Sandra, she's been an educational leader for 38 years, and with her program in North Lincolnshire called Words Count, and the Imagination Library program, this will probably be her legacy for generations to come, because she is changing generations of children in her area. So we're deeply grateful for Sandra and for her dedication and for the dedication of her team and for their vision and for their leadership and for their execution of the Imagination Library. So let's one more time put our hands together for Miss Sandra Simmons.
Thank you. The team are not here. Can you hear me if I don't hold the microphone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. In North Lincolnshire, they say I have a very large gob, which is a mouth. A gob on a stick. How common of me. told off by my leader. So there is a real team behind and a community approach in North Lincolnshire. I'm really, really fortunate, and I never forget how fortunate I am, both in the terms of the staff I work with, but we are funded by our local authority, by our local government. And that comes, and some of that money comes from public health as well. So I don't have to go out at the moment in the same way to gather that money, but I'm not complacent. So I'll tell you a little bit more about how we're sort of gathering other funding and different elements towards us as well. So conscious. Right. This is steaming ahead. So in the UK, our gifting book is Peter Rabbit. And here is Peter Rabbit, knitted by Sarah's mum. So you have got a pattern, you want a Peter Rabbit, hence the ears. For us, Peter Rabbit is quite an iconic storybook. It is a Victorian picture book with Beatrix Potter and all the other characters, but our parents really sort of recognise that and really love and enjoy the characters within there. And sort of fortunately, as we launched Imagination Library in 2013 in North Lincolnshire, the BBC TV programme actually launched a children's programme called Peter Rabbit. They updated it into a cartoon. He's still very naughty, that Peter Rabbit. He really is. In fact, I think he stepped over the mark and moved into the next century. There you go. So Peter Rabbit for us, it's Imagination Library was building and linking into lots of things we had and really passionately believed in, that young children from birth had the right to high quality learning, high quality books, and that interaction and that talking. I'm still trying to get into a national programme in the UK, which is called Talk to Your Bump. So if I go like that, this, that, bump, yeah? So we're really keen to be involved with it as well. What we did do, we knew we've got programmes in the UK as well called Bookstart, which was originally funded by Sainsbury's, big supermarket chain, also had a philanthropic sort of belief in things. They then handed that over to the government, and for a while we had to really push that to keep going. But colleagues in libraries, other links, actually found more funding across the whole of the UK. So we don't treat things as separately. The whole point is keeping everything joined together, if that makes sense. So this was our journey. It started in February 2013. We originally had our local government member saying, I just want a small pilot. Right? We just want a small pilot in an area. Look at the stats, why those children got poorer language as they're going into school. So our children go to full-time school the year they're going to be 5. So they're going to full-time school, so they have nursery provision before that. So we started with something called the Isle. It's just a small rural area. And I think by the end of February, the local government decided they wanted it across the whole of North Lincolnshire. So the team, when I'd said to them, we're just doing this little project, and they went, yeah, little project? Right, send it across. So the big push right at the beginning, and I think you've heard throughout today, is that registration, getting people aware of it, wanting to do it. And we wanted to make it really enticing, and for people to say, well, why am I not involved yet? So we started in quite a small rural area, and then Scunthorpe, which is one of our main towns, in North Lincolnshire, I got people saying, we're not involved yet, why not? So we'd already, if you like, sort of ignited that bit of hunger and interest and why they should be involved with it and why weren't they. So that started that element going. What we wanted to do was, right from the beginning, if we were doing it, it was great getting the books through the door, but what else were we going to do with it? And I think that's some of the conversation we've had through in the other room. And how would we know? We've got something called children's centres in the UK, which for us now is 0 to 5 originally, and was funded by government money. And it was really targeted at children that they felt needed a bit more, where parents were maybe a bit vulnerable, needed more opportunities. So we worked with our children's centres. We actually worked with the midwives. So we we put out a big awareness-raising campaign. We started putting little posters out. We went and talked to midwives. We talked to our health visitors, to our school nurses, to say this is what we're going to do. It's that, if you like, that community collective again, to be a part of that and start on that journey. And we wanted them to register the children. It wasn't just our job as an early years group, as an early years educators. It was the lady in the local supermarket, it was in the post office, it was the hairdressers. We had posters anywhere. In fact, if you stood still, you got a poster. And cards there. And what we did with our early years settings, both in schools and with the preschools and our childminders who just look after a few children, we actually did a pre-launch. So we brought them in, said, you know, all the work we've been doing about communication language, guess what? You're going to have this real exciting opportunity. Here's a poster. We gave them some of the characters from Peter Rabbit, and this is what we're going to do with it. This is how we're going to work with you to develop that. So we already wanted to create that, if you like, that anticipation. Okay. So we started sort of full steam ahead, really. We just wanted to get there, and we had what we wanted to do was really make the books come alive, to want the children to read them at whatever age and stage they were at in that first part. So I had to put that. And he's posting. And really, you know, that poem by Dolly at the front of the book, we read that, we want that for children, but you know, actually, in North Lincolnshire, we wanted it to be us as well. We wanted to be the first one up the mountain, and we wanted to be that dreamer in the sky, to make it the best and go forwards and be even better all the time. And just to make the most of everything, every opportunity that we had. And each time, try a bit harder. And, you know, if you don't, you'll never win. And that's what we really wanted to take forwards. I'm conscious that actually Peter Rabbit in the story, and I had to explain this to my boss, because we actually did a lot around carrots. So when we did the big launch events, we had carrot cake, and we had fruit and stuff like that. And he said, where's the carrots in the story? I said, well, I know, he's eaten the carrots, he's onto radishes now. Because in the book, he's eating radishes. Okay, so we set up, we didn't want to just sort of have people coming and signing and doing. So we had probably 30, 40 different events. Big ones for our elected members to come, who were very important in the political, because they were finding us the money. So they were high profile, they could present, they had lots of photo opportunities, they were in the television, this bit could be cut. You know, we just really worked with that. But we wanted the parents to come through the door with their earliest settings, with the childminders, with the mums, dads, grannies, whoever they were coming with, and come and have a fun couple of hours. Register Imagination Library, take away the gifting book, so we could give them that immediately, and then get ready for the next one coming through the post box. Okay, or the letterbox. So we had, in the story, Peter Rabbit has his, you know, rabbit burrows. We had children going through boxes, making dens. Everything we did, and it was the Royal Week, because of my team doing this, actually. I did join in, I did things. But they made things that were easy, you'd find at home, that were cheap, particularly the earliest settings as well. So if we had a burrow or a den, it could be a table and a blanket over the top. All the stuff that you know you would do. We weren't popular with some school caretakers when we took soil into the hall. Not happy bunny at all. So we'd go and sweep. And actually lots of children, they hadn't experienced some of maybe the vegetables and the different things. So we got all those, we got lots of different herbs that they could tear up. And this was from tinies through to those 5-year-olds. And we sourced a knife that you can cut with that actually cuts, but is a safety knife as well. So we did all those sorts of things. So they tasted and went and everything else. So we just had a good time. And we hid Peter Rabbit, and you see, Angie said she's got Paulie knee. We'd have had Paulie. We had Peter Rabbit with his doctor's set, and we'd have had him out looking after her. Yeah. We did Dingle Dangle Scarecrow. Do you know that one? Where I'm a Dingle Dangle Scarecrow with flippy floppy hat and shake my hands like this and I shake my feet like that. No? Yeah. Oh, I can't share that.
Do that.
When all the cows are sleeping and the moon has gone to bed, Up jumped the scarecrow, and this is what he said. I'm the tinkle tankle scarecrow with the flippy floppy hat. And I shake my hands like this, and I shake my hand like that. So he did lots of things with that. So, and we did lots of collections, all the things that children like to do. And really what we wanted to show with the parents is what a fantastic opportunity you're going to get. These fabulous books, these things to do. We joined the children up to the local libraries as well. But actually there's fun things you can do with the stories time and time again. And to make it come alive, really. Okay. So we went everywhere. We went to Bikers Night, which is all the motorbikes and everything else. We went to the local supermarkets. We chased people because they thought we were trying to sell them. We went out to elected members to say midwives. We've got our registrar. When you have a baby in the UK, in the hospital, you can sometimes register the name and the birth in the hospital, or you go to the registrar. In Scunthorpe, you'll come to the council offices. It's a lovely space that they've made. And you register the baby. But again, the registrars would say, what a lovely name, and wouldn't they love to be part of the Imagination Library? So that's what they did. And the children's centre's the same. The preschool's the same. So if they knew they got a 3 or 4 year old in their setting, but they've just had a baby, have you signed up for the Imagination Library? Do you know what, so it's all those sorts of things that we did, really. Okay. So that's the figure. It keeps going between 87 and 19 plus. A piece I'm really pleased about at the moment on our journey is that one of our most challenging areas where we need to be in with those books and those opportunities, we are up 90+% with that now. And we've really pushed hard with that. But I won't be happy, neither will the team won't be happy till we've got that 100%. And we've got those people who really need. And all the time we're unpicking the postcodes and the data to say, so which children are not, engaged and what they're doing. Some parents said, well, I've registered Jane, Billy, whatever, but I don't need to do it again, do I, for my next child? I'm going, yeah, you do. Yeah. There'll be new books coming through. You need to be part of that. So these are some of our happy customers. Okay. So that's our, yes, that's our bump. Our birth will be 100%. Yes? So that's what we're doing. And we are talking to the parents. If, say, a parent rings up, some of our parents move quite a bit, some of our vulnerable parents, if they're ringing up and they wanted to change their address, we're asking them, right, take those details. Oh, which book did you like this month? Which one did you have? What did you like about it especially? There was one called, I think it's called Banana, picture book. And some of our parents didn't like that because it had no words. So that meant we needed to do some training with our settings, with the parents, to say, actually, this is how you use it. These are the fun things that you can do. So they do read more regularly. We have them posting up on our council website, sending us comment cards if they're involved in different activities at the library. We have Rotary who've trained with us as volunteers, and they do a weekly group in the central library. And again, they ask the questions, go out. If there's events going on, we're about like rent a crowd, we go along. So if there's you have fairs going on, or we've done special events in schools, we've had parents' evenings, and we ask, we collect all the time. We're persistently painful. But it's good that, and I think some of our parents who probably did go to the library and would buy books have actually said, well, the Imagination Library's opened up other authors to us. We didn't know about that one. So-and-so really likes books about more factual ones and dinosaurs and sharing those. And actually, some of the children, even the children when we first did the registration, we knew we'd probably only get 1 or 2 books. We made sure they got the gifting book and other linked books to it because we wanted them to be a part of it and part of with their siblings. We asked them, generally, again, it goes out every so often as a questionnaire, it goes onto the website, we ask different groups, what do you think about books? How do you rate them? Why do you rate them that way? So we're always doing that nosy Parker, being interested. And we collect the comments all the time in terms of what you think about the books and what they've enjoyed. And when it came close, about 18 months ago, resetting of council budgets, these comments were like gold dust, because we could use them with our elected members and say, and they could see it, they could see the value of what parents, and parents were actually saying that to them when they were out on the, if you like, the campaign trail and being involved. And to be really honest as well, we're very fortunate with the current members that we have got, because they really value and see this is important. It's going to make that strong foundation as children go on. Now then, why have you got bunny ears? We're going to get ready to bunny, she says. Let's get ready to bunny. I had to explain that to my boss. I just went, so, I learnt something when I was preparing this to come to DreamMore, because we were putting things together. I said, how are we going to, share what we've been doing with the team? And they said, you've got to go with Peter Rabbit, because I was looking at the coat of many colours and thinking about what we were doing. And we've got a group, preschool group, who've got an outstanding in terms of the inspection, and they're called Botters for Bunnies. That's like, we have weird names sometimes for our preschools. And Jane, who worked with us, who heads up the group, said, I'll go down to the nursery now and get them to record Peter Rabbit. I said, right, well, I don't know it. And they're going, you've got to know it. And of course, Kirsten knows it. And Kirsten, I hope, is going to play it for us. So you're going to listen carefully, because you're going to help me sing it next. And I sing poorly, so you need to try me out.
Oh wait, hang on.
Yeah, I'm going to do it, honest.
I am. Just bear with me. Nope. Nope.
Sam said, reduce it down. And then
I've done that.
Ah.
Yes, I've done all that.
Ah. Well, I'll be no help to you whatsoever. You know that.
So,
On his nose, he. So we're going to do it now. All together. Okay. Peter Rabbit has a fly upon his nose. Peter Rabbit has a fly upon his nose. Peter Rabbit has a fly upon his nose. And he flipped it and he flapped it and the fly flew away. Floppy ears and curly whiskers. Floppy ears and curly whiskers. Floppy ears and curly whiskers. And he flipped it and he flapped it and the fly flew away. Yee-haw! Where were you? Practicing like Yee-haw! Yeah, so you're gonna have it in. And I did think, you could have another chorus with a book going through the post box and all these things, but I couldn't go to rhyme last time. Okay. What we were really keen to do was look at, really, it's that parent partnership, all those things that we've been talking about. I don't normally stick to a script, but I'm trying to keep time, so I'm going to be a good girl. She says. So what we wanted to do was look at how we could look at the layers, if you like, with our settings and our childminders. So the team came up with a platform course, because we were steaming ahead, we had to do that. So the platform, we've done lots. We've done informing, we've got people involved and looking at it. So the next bit, we were saying to our settings, and we're just trying to set them up, look at how they felt about things, and look at the training. And we want them to be informed and passionate. So we said, okay, you've done all the finding out and getting people engaged, registered. How are you going to engage them? So what sort of things? And I think what I've put in the pack for you is just some of those platforms. They're nothing different in some ways, but it was about, how you've got your displays as they're coming in, as a childminder, as a nursery, as a school setting. Have you got imagination diary? We actually gave every setting and childminder a diary. And what we encourage the parents and the children and the settings to do is when they've had that book for imagination library, at whatever level and age they're at, they do little pictures, so they print them off and then they put comments in there and what they've liked about it. So there's a diary all the time telling them why they've enjoyed it. So we're capturing that and what difference it's made. What we wanted to do, you're having sessions, you're having events, you've got new people coming, you're going to have a transition into school, how you're going to share those as you go through nursery. How many of your children actually are registered with a library? Because in our area we've got lots of libraries, which is great, but parents sometimes register in their own name and get the books out for the children, but they don't register the children. And we wanted them to register the children to become library users in that sense. And on the website, just sharing ideas. Platform 3 was really targeting and working with our early years settings and our different groups, because they would know which parents weren't that good at reading, who found it hard themselves or are very averse to doing that. And that's where we worked with our adult education community, because we've got funding from government, again, to set things up in the nurseries, different areas, just to encourage them in areas where they wouldn't normally go, to take some of those skills and work with the children. So we try to combine other funding streams, other skills and different elements around there. And with the government as well as something called Book Start Corner, which again was additional books that was linked into a government scheme, so we could say, a bit like your Head Start, there's more books there. And actually, if you're in the children's centre, you've got staff there, they would go into the home with some of those parents and work with the books as well. So we were just going through the different stages and the links with that. We knew once we wanted to go across the whole of North Lincolnshire, we needed a bigger workforce. We needed everybody in the community, the earlier settings of school, anyone who's interested to become a lead champion. And so what we did was put on some ideas, different training, and people, some of the parents who'd been involved in sort of adult community education, they could come forward and be a community champion. And instead of feeling that they weren't that good, they became the champion as part of that group. Yes, we've got some of the passionate ones who were early as practitioners like yourselves. They'd be making things, they'd be doing things with the books, and they'd share that, they'd share those ideas. And what was good for us was when we have an inspection process in the UK, Ofsted. If you say Ofsted, people often go to a pale. We have it for early years and we have it for our schools. So all our early years, in receipt of government money, have to have an Ofsted inspection. So it started appearing in the Ofsted reports about how it was making a difference to the quality of the teaching and learning in the early years, but equally about what it was doing with the parents and the children. And that for us is great. So that's where we started to look at. The champions tended to be in little community clusters, not nut clusters, but bunny clusters. So we've had over 170, it's more than that now actually, and we made a big thing of it. People were presented with saying thank you, you're giving your time, you're giving your passion and commitment to the children in your communities, thank you. And actually we go out now, we've been invited to different ones in the UK, just to share, if you like, what we're doing, how we can do it. I don't think we haven't made any money. We were asked to go Doncaster, and
they're paying you.
they are paying us. They did, yes, I think I spent it then. No, they did, they paid us, yeah. We did volunteer as well. So it's all that modelling, all that good practice that we know about research, about why it's important to share those books, be cosy, to snuggle down, to share and to just have that fun element with the books. This was a lady in one of our more rural schools, and she used to come in every week to do a session, and that's what we have, you know, different people doing that. And she would lead some training for us as well. So it gave us a bigger workforce. That's what we needed, and we needed more champions. Oops, what have I done there? That way. If I can do it wrong, I will. So these are some of the chatter diaries, really, and we call them magic moments because they just are, you know. Is when, for parents, when you sit down and you have that snuggle and you share that book, because we also talked about the attachment and that interaction, and we asked them to put their comments about the diary. And that for some parents was harder than others if they weren't as literate as some of their other colleagues. So these are quite small, but you can, and what started to happen with some of the older children, they started making up some of their stories about things as well. So they take the characters. So Fletcher is thinking, notice the baby in the back and the baby, and he joined in saying, go, go, from the story. He really seemed to enjoy the story, and he was 22 months. Sarah, who's in our office, is not part of the early years folks, but her little girl has the books gifted, and she likes the one about the panda. Boo, is it Boo? Pom Pom. And actually, she probably, no, she isn't reading the words, but Sarah captured her on the video in her bedroom, you know, when they're going to sleep, and she's just sat there and she read the whole story because she's had it read so many times, but she was just caught and captured in that way, which is fantastic. Yeah. And I think it just emphasised, well, you know, keep reading the stories, what's going to come next, all those skills that we're going to need. Sorry,
I just have a quick question about what
Yeah.
you're talking about. So the diaries, is this like they come as like a focus group where they look at the books and give comments, or is this something that they actually have in their home with them?
Some of them help take them home, some of them have in their early years setting, so it's, I feel like it's part of the routine, so if they've read a book, they'll put things, some are better than others, you know, in the groups. It depends sometimes on the passion of the practitioner. We've got to practice. I brought one book with me so you can have a look. So it's there all the time. The people who are really good at it are the childminders, because they might have 3 or 4 children, and they really make a point of having a quiet session where they do it with each individual child and with the parents as well. So it's good. And this was about a year and a half maybe into our journey. Government made money available through the 2-year-old funding. And I know Helen said there's still some monies there. So we talked to Sam. We had to talk to folks here in the Imagination Library and say, could we have a set of the sample books that you go for the Imagination Library so you can buy them? And what we did was buy enough for every early years setting and childminder. We bought some squashy cushions and some sort of baskets, and we did some book chatter training. So the practitioners could have that box of beautiful books and squashy cushions if they came and did the training. And yes, they did. And we haunted them till they had them. We are very in it. And all the time we put things out for the folks to have displays to go with the books that are there. This has gone on to social media now, so I'll tell you a bit about how we've done that. So it was the words, the letters, it's just all what is good early years pedagogy and practice. So, and what we start, right, go back. No, you don't want a dolly body, you can't have that. Sorry. Could you go back? That's it, sorry. Yeah, I'm too trigger happy. What? It's not good. There we are. I'm the pain in the early years who'll say, I've got other jobs as well now, but I'll say, do you know, wouldn't it be good if, and they keep saying, you need to live closer, you've got too much time to think in the car. So what happens, I said, you know those great big bags, we've got like a TK, do you have TK Maxx type thing? TJ. All right, okay. And I said, if we could get the books and different props, not expensive, because I've not a lot of money, But if we could put ideas together, then those could go as big training packs around different events or into the settings, and that's what the folks have done. And then the gentleman from Kentucky in there mentioned about doing video clips. So what we've actually got on the council website, once the books have been gifted, particular books from each age band, and then there's some top tips for parents that goes onto the video clips with books. So just another hint, you can use them like this. And we're developing a Facebook page as well with the parents so that they can access there. And it's just looking, so we can, if you like, peek into the home and know that those books are being used to their full potential. Maybe trigger happens down to yeah. And this, now Slack may seem a very peculiar name. Oops. Don't ask me how it totally works because the guys are much better than I am about it. This has been going now for about, I'd say, coming up to 12 months. It's a social media page, and it might be one of the things to look at with Imagination Library. And you are invited. So if you're an early years practitioner in North Lincolnshire, you'd be sent an email contact, you'd accept it, and then you've got a social media element. But you can then put your ideas, your comments on that page and share and comment about each other. And that's what they do as a group. The hardest bit has been saying to practitioners, that's brilliant, get it on there. And they'll go, oh no. No, it's not that good. It's get it on there. You know. So we started, we got things and we put it on for them, and then they're going, oh, all right then. I'll do it. You know, so this is from one of our Oasis Academy, quite a challenging area in town. And she's, you know, I've been just sharing what they've done. And it's just, because you can't get into everybody's setting or school. And we're working with the parents. So it's just, you know, all the time when we're nudging and persuading people to do things in that way. And these are all the different books that have gone out. We have a development and training centre, a lot of the earliest come to again. We have it up on our website. And we just put, these are the books and different props to go with it. There are often times when the folks can come and borrow that stuff because we have it from other early years practice that we've had. I was talking to Helen about, you know, the chatter packs and things, so it links in with some of those things there. Now, Dolly's brolly. In the UK, we tend to get a lot of rain, she says. There you go. But what we wanted, we had a book that was actually it's not an Imagination Library book, but it was funded by Rotary. And it was called A Bag Full of Stars. And we wanted to make this story, it was around Christmas a year ago, and we wanted to make this fun environment where they could snuggle up together in twos or threes. And we created these not me, my team, we created these story brollies. And we had Nick Sharratt, who's one of the UK authors who brings books for part of the Imagination Library.
Our graduation book is Just Imagine.
It is Just Imagine by Nick. And he's brilliant. He comes and he will be in a hall of 800 children from probably 6 through to 16 we've had them actually. And he draws and tells his story with book, and you can't hear a pin drop. It's so quiet. And he came in April, and I said, I'm going to DreamMore and the Imagination Library, and I had this idea about having a postcard for our parents to send messages to Dolly about why they like Imagination Library, why they like the books. So that's when we got Dolly. So we'll use that as another way of capturing what the parents think, what the children think, and just sort of something interactive again and utilise that. Yeah.
There's a pile of them on the table,
yes.
So we could hand them out and have them in.
So you can read them, and we'll have big ones as well for the children. If I set them off there, they're just different ones.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So we just do this. I'll send them out now. But we've got loads, so I just thought I'd bring a few in and just to share what we've done. So this is a Dolly brolly. Thank you. Yeah. So it's Peter Rabbit. But the thing is, what the children enjoy doing is actually retelling the story with the bits and the pieces that are in there. So I think we've got, sorry, on here. This is where Peter Rabbit, that very naughty rabbit, goes in. And of course, he had his beautiful coat with the buttons, and he got caught in the net, as you do. And there's so they can feel, they can tell the story, they can make different. And you can do that with any story. And we had to have lights. Yes, we're very low key. So that's what we. Time. That's what we wanted. And just having fun, just that interaction again. Am I done? Yes, thank you. Well done. Well done, So is that? I decided, and in fact, if Ailsa sees it, she'll be checking to see if I put all the things on one of my team in the right way. Because I thought I'd then bring that all dressed up in my suitcase through customs. Yeah. I didn't think I would get through. Okay, so all the time we're looking, how are we going to get that reach, we're deepening the reach, we've got the registrations, we want to go further. And this was something about raising attainment, it's called Raffle. It was a link of a real project that was research-based in Sheffield University with Kathy Nutbrown. And it was about how parents engage with books and literacy from birth with young children. And it was offered as some free training, so we brought different practitioners in, but we thought, right, we're going to target some of our most challenged families and children, and we're going to bring them in, but we're going to bring them in as both the preschool, the childminder in that area, the children's centre, and then the school into transition. Now, some of our groups like that work really well. And then I've got other groups with the teacher saying, I know best, and you just tell me what you've done, or you've got that little tension, the frisson. So this was a way of getting them to work and develop that practice together. And alongside that, we had something that was also offered from the preschool. So it's being inquisitive about what's going out there as well and using that research. And this is Fred. Fred is a national programme about fathers reading every day with their children, because sometimes, and there's a bit of a debate about that. Is it just dads and mums? But also there's opportunity, the same messages. So if you want to have a look at that. And each group took, if you like, this different recipe. So they've got the real training, they've got the imagination library, we've got Fred, Bookstart is a national scheme. We've done lots of training with a speech and language therapist, but more around the reading and the language, called Growing Talk Together. Group work with us. And then each of the schools, that's a preschool, Happy Stars, and then Priory Lane School would be involved in that. And that, if you like, was that coalition of working together. What it also helped was that we've got a profile that they've filled in and built up case studies that you can come and have a look at if you'd like to see. And they're going to track those children as they go through. So as they go into year one, they move from what we call reception into year one. We'll look at how they're progressing, so that emotional element, but also literacy. Thanks to government, we have phonics screening tests, so we'll look at that. We'll look at that reading for enjoyment as we go through all those case studies together. Keep an eye on me. This was, Ailsa is brilliant. Kirsten is, Ailsa's from our earliest team, but she's part of the UK selection team for the books. And she at one point said we weren't getting enough board books in, we weren't getting enough books for the children. Ailsa worked right from the beginning with some of our young parents and married mums and dads who hadn't had the best start of lives themselves. And we thought, if we don't get into that cycle now with those children and those parents and give them the confidence and the faith to work with their children with books, that's what we need to do. So this is the sort of things. And Ailsa worked so hard for a good 2 years with the different groups, and we've worked and trained other people up now. She didn't want to leave it, she didn't want to let it go. And they made their own little diary. You asked me about the diary. They made their own little diary each week. She took photos. She got them to use their mobile phones for doing that rather than anything else, because they didn't want to know at one point, some of them. and just to look at their children and just have that joy of what the children were doing. So, you know, it's helping a loads with a speech. So those were quite challenged mums and dads, really. That. And they kept coming. That was the other thing. Now, these are some of our partners, okay? Nick Sharrett, who's done a lot with us and working with, and by chance, Colin, who's also another link with the Imagination Library, is a librarian, a very talented lady who lives locally, saw the Imagination Library, and she's a zoologist, believe it or not. She was also hedge funds and banks and things. She's a very bright lady. And she said, I've created this book called Mr. Hare's Big Secret. Do you think it could be part of the Imagination Library? Well, no, it couldn't, because of that. And she came to Colin because she said, I remember you as my librarian coming in and reading me stories in the classroom. And I saw your name on this list in the, I think it's local paper. It was a beautiful story, and because it didn't matter that it wasn't Imagination Library, such a beautiful picture book. We used it in her local area where her children were and other groups just outside of Stumple, and we had a whole week around Mr. Hare's Big Secret. And she's right, and she came and she worked with the older children as well to do illustrations with them, talk about the different characteristics of different creatures. So again, Ian McMillan he's known as the Barnsley poet. Is very much from the north, so he'd have a very strong Yorkshire accent. But Ian is passionate that all children from birth onwards should have that chance to read, to play with words, to write. And he's supported us with developing things past 5, so past our 5-year-olds. So, and he's going to do some more work with us about a sense of place for us in September. And this was the Bag Full of Stars, which was with Rotary. So there's Addie and the illustrator with Bridget. And we worked with a local storyteller to make it all come alive again. And we did it around Christmas. And it was one of our local churches. They work with Rotary. And you have your Christmas tree and you decorate it in whatever you want for your charity. So, of course, we had a Peter Rabbit and Imagination Library Christmas tree. But it was their 10th anniversary, and they said what they wanted to do with the monies was actually create a book that was going to be gifted. So they then wanted to gift a book to the community, and that went to all our children across North Lincolnshire. That's some of our music team with Erica. They created music and songs to go along with it. And we use monies from a music creative arts hub to do that as well. So again, we wanted to put that rhythm and rhyme with the music, with the stories as well, working together. So this is some of the team. God, just keep me on time, Helen.
Can we stop cutting it? Oh,
One more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm just too happy. So that's a Rhubarb Theatre Company who'll come out and do any story we want in rhyme and action, and they'll dance all around the park. That's in Central Park. It's very cold that day. But there's Sarah, keyboarding. We'll call her Lady in Pink. Sarah loves pink, and Sue and Ailsa have been talking about. And we just get out there all the time because it was launched in 20. If you don't keep it fresh, you know that, isn't it? If you don't keep that passion and that hunger and wanting to do, then it's not going to continue. And it's how we can take other people's ideas, and it's owned by everybody, and that's what we want. So we catch people. There's still a few who still think we're trying to sell it. So we are, but in a different way. And what we had, you've got the big post banners there that we have, is the top tips. Why it's important, just ideas for parents. And right from the beginning, when we gifted the Imagination Library with Peter Rabbit, there was the top tips there. This is a book, this is what you can do with it, and keep going on. Very quickly. At one point, I said to our local members, it's fantastic, we've done all this work to the age of 5. What happens then? Do you let it go? Do you not do anything else? And this is Rotary and Phillips 66, a big international oil refinery. Winchman Fields is a very, very, if you're ever in the area, there are very nice restaurants, fine dining. It is not cheap, but it's lovely. Sinfonia Viva and the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. and Bookstart. We wanted to launch the Literacy Trust, and we didn't want to do it as, this is the council, this is who we're doing. So I had this sort of idea and discussed with the team that we would talk with the lady at the Baths Hall. She suggested when we held a big event with Nick. She said, I know Colin is a very good, well-known chef. She said, I'm sure he'd work with some of the older students, the 15 and 16-year-olds. And she said, I'm willing to give you the Baths Hall, which holds about, to Dan, you came, wasn't it? About 200 planned on. And he will work with them, and they will cook and serve a high-quality meal with silver service and everything else. And at the time, I thought, we'll do it. That was about 12 months ago. It took all the planning to work. So we worked with teachers in school, with the food technicians, and with Colin. He was very generous with his time. And he took them to his restaurant. He showed them what it was like, what sort of things they could do. They created the menu. And then, as we were getting, and because you've been sitting, I have to give you the carrot because you do brilliant stuff. And what we want to capture is what you do in your communities to create Imagination Library, to keep it growing, and what you're doing to build that legacy. So please have a go at just writing a couple of comments for me now, or if you promise to bring it back, then we'll hang a bunch up tomorrow. How's that? Okay.
Right. Let's go back.
So someone has cut these out for you. These came in the suitcase as well.
Ideas of things we've done.
You've done, yeah. What do you think? You were going to give a good idea to somebody, or two ideas. Do. Because you've got your bunny ears on and you are just buzzing.
Makes sense. Did you get one?
No, you're all right. You keep it. Shall I talk to you whilst you're thinking and writing? Is that right? Is that very rude? Is that okay? Thank you. So you do all that stuff, and we're always looking for other participants, people to be involved, victims, who we can encourage. But we try. I know that we cannot take that public money for granted. And my elected member has said, you have got to demonstrate how you're going to make. So I know, I'm impressed how much you can do, and that's what I'm learning today and tomorrow about doing those different things. Rotary we've got businesses engaged, but again, we want to involve them and be a part of that. So you're telling us about our patch. That's some of our. We have our own Dolly as well.
Yeah.
Our mayor's had his picture taken with Dolly. That's Colin, our librarian, and Sarah in pink, and another colleague who works as part of the team. That's our centre. Okay. So we've got a trust. Actually establishing a trust when you're in a government public body is not easy. I learned that. So we wanted to establish our aims. We wanted businesses, we wanted other colleagues who could challenge us, because we didn't want the trust to say, oh, that's okay, you do that. We wanted the challenge to say, well, why do you think that should be? You know, what sort of things can you bring on board? How are we going to raise it? What do you want the trust to be about? So that we put those elements there. One of our local young ladies who's part of the graphics, she designed our literacy trust because we wanted to be so inclusive. And we got a super message of support from Dolly, which meant a lot to our community as well, just to encourage and take that forwards for the trust. And one of the projects we're doing at the moment through the trust is raising, and we've actually raised enough money for 2 years now. There was a just by chance, we'd had some returns of books through Imagination Library, and we thought, how can we use them? And we gifted them to what we call our Disney ward, the children's ward at our local hospital. And they said, we'd really like you to do some work on the neonatal premature baby ward. And we read about some work with Middlesbrough and Bradford, who'd been doing a gifting project with tinies. And so what we did, or the team did, was put some training, different things together. And they talked to one mum. I don't know if you know it, it's the story about How Much Do I Love You? About the hairs. And she had Erin, her little girl, who was a prem baby, quite poorly when she was born. And they got the book, and she said it was a thing that she could feel comfortable about talking to a baby that she didn't know was going to be there or listening or what was involved. And it also meant Big Sister, when she came, could share the book. And they came together, and it was that real emotional attachment and all the research that went with that. So that's what we've got now. We've got our gift pack, goes in a nice little bag like this, and we just say making big memories for little babies. And there's some ideas in there, there's a rhyme CD, and there is the book as well. And we're working with Rotary, some of our preschools raised £1,000, which for preschools are a lot of money. Parents who'd had babies on the ward gifted money because they wanted that to be there. And then we've got a health trust now that come in with us and said, we'll match that funding, and if you have a shortfall into the future years, we will just fund it. So we just went, yeah. Yeah. Okay, and there she is, that's Erin's story. So that's where those books and that, made that link and attachment. So yeah, guess how much I love you. And we're working with volunteers again, because it's volunteers that seem to keep this world going around, isn't it? And being involved in that way. And the Wiggle and Giggle that's a CD in here. That was something we'd done a good while ago about rhyme and story. We did not baby massage, but like fun activities for babies and children. So they could have, we didn't do bunny ears, but we did feathers and scarves and all sorts of things to play with babies and encourage that interaction at eye contact. And key for us, this is something we're doing with the older children, is Roald Dahl will say, I begin to realise how important it was to be an enthusiast, in a room of enthusiasts, I guess. And if you're interested in something, no matter what, go at it full speed, embrace it with both arms, hug it, love it, and above all, become passionate about it, because lukewarm is no good. And that is the words of Roald Dahl. And there you are. You're never too old to enjoy reading Peter Rabbit. And I had to share my presentation. That's my boss. And I remembered we got a photo, because that's when he said to me, where's the carrots in this story? Thank you. So it's just open to questions. You'll be... Do take the ears. Any questions?
You were talking about your enrollment methods.
Oh.
Sorry? You were, at the beginning, you talked about the different ways that you enroll. And so I had a question, local supermarkets, what type of traction did you see there? And then what has been the largest source of enrollment?
When we went to, well, I came back actually to ask them about donating. But when we did the first registration, we just asked them, could we come into the supermarket to really promote it? So they give us space, but you have to ask for permissions to do that. So when we did the big launch for Words Count, which I haven't really talked about, which is that Coast 5 element, Asda, I think it was, Walmart, sponsored drinks, fruit, different things for children's part of an activity day, so that they're linking in different ways. I am keen to get into some of the stronger funding streams they have, so that's on my list. But now we've got the trust, we can actually have that as a charity trust, so we can have gift aiding into it as well. So again, it gives a substance to big businesses to say, right, well, you're serious about it, it's not going into a pot in the council, it's arm's length. It's got a board of trustees, it gives a different, and we can apply for the funding streams. So that's what we'll do.
It's like a non-profit here.
It's non-profit, it just goes purely into.
Where do you sign up most of your children? Where do they fill the forms in?
I'd say now either at birth or as they come through the different early year settings or we're in events, particularly at birth at registration children's centres. But we know from some of the data we keep, Helen, we'll have a child who turns up at 3 and we're thinking, how did we miss them? Who hasn't? And really push with our health visitors, midwives. So as soon as we have somebody who we think, well, why haven't they done that? We go and ask them. Why didn't you? Oh, well, I'd registered once, didn't think I needed to do it again, that was one.
Right.
Or wasn't really sure what it was about. It's that sort of thing. And it was only at Easter, a young couple came up and they got the baby and they wanted to register her. The little girl was 4 and they said, it's not worth it now. I said, she'll get some books. And actually, I knew I'd got some spare books and I could give her a pack, she might not have.
Right.
Yeah, but I just thought, I want them out there, they're there for the children. So hard one.
Do you do online registration?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes. Yeah. We do through the Dolly.
Yeah.
How did you get the books ahead of time and know how to prepare some of the, or how did you get
Oh,
them
right,
to know?
those. We get a list in the UK, but we treat it like a top secret.
Right.
Because we'll say to the settings, we know what it is, but don't you dare, because they mustn't know till that book goes through the door.
Right.
That's what we. So what we do is the things that go up on the website with the ideas go up after that set of books will have gone out. So we can reignite it again, if you like, I suppose.
So, but you talked about gifting books.
Yeah.
So do you all buy the first book yourselves and then give that to the?
Oh, yeah, in the UK it's slightly different.
Yeah.
We can buy cases of,
Yeah.
so in your case, you like say the little engine that could, so we can buy boxes of say 100 copies of the Tale of Peter Rabbit.
So you choose to buy those and then.
Give them out at events as a
Events.
character sign up.
You've done that.
That's what we did at the beginning.
And so they don't get the first book at all.
No, so on the
No.
order system there's a little tag that you can set to no.
Right.
And so
Right.
they just get the first
So say if they went
book.
through the Imagination Library and signed on, they wouldn't have had the gifting book, so they'll get it because they know that way. So we're just trying to get it.
One way that we have extra books, you'll have that group that they've changed addresses, whatever, the library, the
Yeah.
post office deal. Well, we've worked with our local post office, and we go buy those books. We pay the postage
Right.
that don't get delivered, and we bring them back to us. And then as we do different events, we hand those out
Yeah.
to the individuals.
We did some of that with our housing association because they came back. And actually, in our community quite good. If a book goes through and they haven't got a child in the house, they'll bring it. They know where we are in the centre of town.
We've
and
had
they'll bring
some
it back.
turn back
Yeah,
like
they
that.
bring it back.
But that gives you some books to
Yeah.
hand out
Yeah.
and not have
Yeah.
to necessarily go buy. You've already got those.
So just for attention, so about the post office bringing it back to you.
Yeah.
So if a parent doesn't call you or self-report that they're moving to the post office, how do you capture those parents that have unplanned moves, that moved and you don't know?
It's hard. We work with a children's centre who might be working particularly with that family, but it can happen. They can drop through a line. We don't know.
If you go back and buy it, say you have, or go back to the post
Yeah.
office and pay that for that book, you have that address.
So Shelby County buys we buy 1,000 books back from the post office. We have about a
You do the same
15,000
thing.
budget. But we want to get away from, we want to even stop before we have to buy that book.
Yes.
So how do we capture
But you just
that
can't
information?
We did.
So I'm looking for someone that may
Okay.
have an answer.
I've got a top tip.
Yeah.
I've got some affiliates that I look after, and the tagline on the book, the label that you can
We
put
do
in.
that too.
Yeah, that's the best I could come up with.
We don't.
If you do, don't forget to tell
We
us.
don't buy the books back. They'll come back to us, but not all of them will. Some sadly may just sit somewhere
Right.
that we don't know. But it's not. We really try to keep pushing it with our And our earlier settings as well, if they know a particular, maybe a parent who might not always be as quick to change the address, they'll say, do you know so-and-so's left? Or the children say, we're quite, I suppose we're quite small. It's not perfect, but we'll just keep trying to.
I think it's just you might lose them because in Canada, we get our postage returned. So all the books that don't get delivered, we get returned. So we might get the same book for, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Our policy is our books get returned 3 times. And we have a volunteer, and every time that book comes back, she emails them, calls them, keeps a spreadsheet of her contact with them, and then after the book gets returned 3 times, so 3 months, if they haven't contacted us to say, hey, I got your email, yes, I moved, then they get deleted. But even with our system, we end up sometimes every 6 months with a stack of books like that's returned in our community. And we get them sent back to us, and we follow up directly with the parent with their contact. So it just, we have the best system, I think, for that. But
we pay twice as much.
So
right, but I mean, we don't have to track them.
we do that. We don't do 3, we do 1. You get one time, you get contacted, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
What's your cost in
Sorry?
what does it cost a child per year?
£25.
£25.
That's what I say to.
Which would be about what in terms of Canadian or American dollars? Okay, and we pay 50 Canadian, which would be 100
We do pay.
American.
And I think one of the things I didn't. Did I tell you? I told you about Slack, didn't I? Where you keep books and post on. And the other thing is that for us, when I'm using data and I'm talking to very important people, we are in the top quartile in the UK for a good level of development, which is a national measure. And we unpick that around the language. And our earlier settings are now, the preschools are 100% good or better, and our childminders are 98% currently, because it changes with the inspection, but that's where we're at. We keep them. Zip up.
Well, it's almost time to go, but I would like to take a group photo with the bunny ears and
Oh, yeah,
We
I
do
think you
that.
should.
Yeah.
maybe in the back we